All right, if you're gearing up for your psychiatric nursing exams, you are in the right place. We're about to break down the essential psychological theories that you absolutely, positively have to know.
Okay, let's be real. Are you feeling completely buried under a mountain of names? You know, Freud, Skinner, Maslow, it's a lot. But don't worry. Take a deep breath. We are going to cut right through all that noise and give you a clear, simple roadmap to understanding what actually matters for your exam and for your future practice. So, let's get into it. So, here's our game plan. We're going to do a quick tour through 4 major schools of thought in psychology. Think of each one as a different lens, a different way to look at and understand why people behave the way they do. And then, the most important part, we'll tie it all together to show you how this connects directly to what you'll be doing as a nurse.
All right, first up on our tour, the one and only Sigmund Freud. Now, love him or hate him, he was a total revolutionary who came up with this wild idea that we're all driven by forces we can't even see.
So Freud's big idea, the one you really need to get, is this iceberg metaphor. He said our conscious mind, everything we're thinking and feeling right now, is just a tiny little tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water. The real action, the massive, hidden part deep below the surface, that's our unconscious. It's where we stuff all our repressed memories, our secret desires, our deep-seated urges, and it has a huge influence on everything we do, even when we have no clue it's happening.
So, how does this all work? Well, it all starts with the id. I want you to picture a screaming, hungry baby. That right there is the id in its purest form. It's the part of us we're born with, and it's all about impulse. It wants what it wants, and it wants it now. It operates on pure pleasure and can't stand any kind of frustration.
Okay, so you can't be a screaming baby forever, right? That's where the ego comes in. The ego is our reality tester. It's the voice that steps in and tells the id, whoa, hang on, you can't just grab that cookie. The ego is basically the problem solver, the negotiator that tries to get the id's needs met, but in a realistic way that works in the real world.
And then, to complete the trio, the superego shows up. You can think of this as your inner moral compass, your conscience. It's built from all the rules, the shoulds and should-nots, that we absorb from our parents and from society. The superego is what makes you feel a pang of guilt when you mess up and a sense of pride when you do the right thing. And why does this matter for you as a nurse? Because it's a powerful reminder that a patient's struggles might just be a battle between these deep internal forces.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. We're leaving Freud's murky internal world of the unconscious and jumping into something totally different, behaviorism. The behaviorists were like, forget the unconscious. We can't see it, we can't measure it, let's focus on what we can see, behavior.
So, behaviorism basically boils down to 2 main kinds of learning, or conditioning. First, you've got classical conditioning from Pavlov. This is all about involuntary stuff, automatic responses. It's the famous experiment where dogs learn to drool at the sound of a bell because they associated it with food. Then you have operant conditioning from B.F. Skinner. Now, this is about voluntary behaviors. It's the idea that we learn to do things based on the consequences. We do more of what gets us rewards and less of what gets us punished.
Let's make this super practical. Picture this common scene. You're in the grocery store checkout line. A kid starts throwing a full-blown tantrum for a candy bar. The parent, exhausted and embarrassed, just gives in and buys the candy. So what just happened here in behaviorist terms? The tantrum, which is a negative behavior, was just positively reinforced. The child just learned a super effective lesson. Throwing a fit gets me what I want. This is so important because you'll use these principles all the time to help patients build healthier habits.
All right, so we've had Freud looking at the unconscious and behaviorists looking at actions. Then the cognitive theorists step in and say, whoa, hold on a minute, you're both missing the most important part. It's not just what you do, it's what you think. Their core belief is that our thoughts come first, and those thoughts are what shape our feelings and our actions.
And a huge concept here, one that will definitely be on your exam, is the cognitive distortion. We all have them. They're these automatic knee-jerk thoughts that are often irrational. They twist how we see things and almost always lead to negative feelings.
Let's run through a couple of these, because you'll see them everywhere. You've got all or nothing thinking. This is black and white thinking. If you're not perfect, you're a total failure. Or how about labeling? You fail an exam and your automatic thought is, I am a failure. See the difference? And look, recognizing these patterns in your patients is key, but honestly, you'll probably start noticing them in yourself too. Helping people spot and challenge these thoughts is a huge part of what you'll do in psych nursing.
Okay, from the sometimes negative world of cognitive distortions, we're moving to what's probably the most optimistic theory of them all, humanism. Thinkers like Abraham Maslow basically said, hey, we're not just a bundle of unconscious drives or learned behaviors. They believed in free will and that all of us have this built-in drive to grow and become the best possible versions of ourselves.
And you can't talk about humanism without talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is bread and butter stuff for nursing, you guys. It's a pyramid, and here's the takeaway, the thing you have to remember. You gotta build the pyramid from the bottom up. A patient's most basic physiological needs, like food, water, sleep, and their need for safety have to be met before they can even think about things higher up, like relationships or self-esteem.
So what does it actually look like to get to the top of that pyramid, to be self-actualized? Well, Maslow studied people he thought had made it, and he found they had a few things in common. They tended to be focused on solving problems, not on themselves. They saw the world clearly, and they accepted themselves and other people, flaws and all. Whew, okay, that was a whirlwind tour, right? Freud, Skinner, Maslow. But what does it all mean? How does any of this help you when you're actually with a patient, trying to figure out what's going on? Let's bring it all home. It all comes back to this quote from the amazing Hildegard Peplau. She's basically the mother of psychiatric nursing. And her big idea was that the therapeutic relationship you build with your patient is everything. She completely shifted nursing from doing things to patients to doing things with them.
So, I want you to think of each theory as a different tool you can pull out of your nursing toolkit. Freud reminds you to really listen because a person's childhood can tell you so much about their adult life. Behaviorism gives you concrete tools, like setting up a reward system to encourage positive behavior changes. Cognitive theory gives you a way to help patients become detectives of their own thoughts. And Maslow, he gives you your priority list every single time. Make sure your patient is safe and their basic physical needs are met first.
So as you're hitting the books for your exam, and more importantly, as you think about the kind of nurse you want to be, I want you to ask yourself this question. These theories aren't competing against each other. They all offer a piece of the puzzle. The real art of psychiatric nursing is knowing which tool to reach for which patient at which moment.